The Ten Commandments that were promulgated at Mount Sinai serve as a spiritual charter for the Western world and for other nations, and they're found in the Pentateuch in chapter 20 of the second book, Exodus, and repeated later on in Deuteronomy as well. Its maxims include: thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, honor father and mother. But when one looks at the following chapter, 21, it begins with the phrase, and these are the judgments, instructions, and goes on to say, if you buy a Hebrew slave, so on, you must let him go free after 7 years of servitude. Interpreters of the biblical text claim that the conjunction "and" with which this chapter begins indicates that these laws, just like the Ten Commandments, were also promulgated at Mount Sinai. I think one would anticipate that the Ten Commandments be followed by instructions such as love your neighbor as yourself, do not hate your brother in your heart, if you see a neighbor's animal fallen due to the weight of the burden on his shoulders, help him to lift the animal, and so on. Yet the Torah starts with something altogether different. Moreover, the Torah should be against slavery. Making it more comfortable doesn't seem to be what a sacred text should really teach. Rabbi Nathan Lopez Cardozo and others theorize that because the Torah was given to the Hebrew people at a certain point in history, the text had to conform to the prevailing reality of the time. Banning slavery would have resonated on deaf ears at that time. They continue saying, moreover, if the Torah were given today, its content would be different. In other words, the basic ethical principles would remain the same, but certain details would be different. I know that on many occasions we are called to judge events and people according to the ethical values of the present, without considering the realities of the time in question. Many want to judge Washington and Jefferson, great figures in American history, negatively. Why do you want to judge them negatively? Because they owned slaves. But one must consider the situation of the historical moment in which they lived. Slavery was the order of the day. The struggle between North and South in the United States, which had as its central theme the existence of slavery, also pointed out by that time that the North had made more progress, even though slavery had already been banned in that region. And we can see today, where slavery is still in existence, the society does not progress really. To the contrary, many thought that with the oncoming of the Industrial Revolution, many jobs would be lost and society would be doomed. Many people would die of starvation. Yet it's the other way around. Nowadays we have the challenge of the internet. Tomorrow we'll have the greater challenge of artificial intelligence. Who knows where that is going to lead us? But human beings are very resourceful. And when a new situation comes, they know how to adapt themselves and face it. And to the contrary, any new advancement of society leads to greater benefits for all in the long run.